For over 800 years, Kelburn Castle in Scotland has been the ancestral home of the Boyle family. The Boyles were once one of the wealthiest families in Scotland, but today they're in penury and the castle is in bad shape.
Look at the state of this. Water comes pouring through it.
The roof looks pretty ropey. Windows look horrendous.
We really do need about £1.5 million to keep this place going. Hop over, girls.
Lord Glasgow's attempts to save the castle don't look promising.
But this is what is required to get the money.
Yeah, right. Why, when it's obviously the best view in Scotland, why can't we convince everybody else?
If you just keep selling bits off,
I don't know,
you're on a high road to nothing.
A white knight comes to their rescue, but are his intentions all they seem?
He has a lot of enemies locally because they think he's just a sort of ruthless developer.
Kelburn's future is hanging in the balance.
Well, the family motto, in fact, is Dominus Providi Bit, which actually means God will provide, which I think is rather appropriate for this, our particular problems here. We hope he will provide.
April. It's the week before Easter, and Kelburn Castle and Country Centre on Scotland's Ayrshire coast is preparing to open to the public for another season.
This is the stockade, and it's one of the sort of very, very popular sort of features for children. But quite a lot of the wood has got rather rotten, and we're having to replace it at the moment. So that's one of the many things we're having to do to get ready for this season.
Patrick Boyle, the 10th Lord Glasgow, took over the Kelburn estate in 1977. He believed that opening the castle to the public and turning the estate into a country centre would pay the huge cost of maintaining Kelburn. The park's riding school, indoor kids' play barn, falconry centre and beautiful woodland walks draw 75,000 visitors a year, but the centre still isn't making a profit. The situation is now critical. If things don't improve this year, the country centre might have to close for good.
As you can see, this is a sort of a cross between a fort from a Western movie and a sort of concentration camp. That part of it looks more like sort of Stalag 17. We ordered some swings and they turned out to be too big and we had to send them back, and we've now got some swings which I hope are going to be the right size. Unfortunately, as you can see, if the swings are too big here, then children on the swings will swing into the customers, and at least, or into other children, and that's regarded as dangerous. Anyway.
Lord Glasgow has come up with a publicity stunt to try and kick the season off with a bang.
We thought that we needed some publicity when we opened at Easter, and we thought the idea of having the biggest Easter egg in Scotland. The egg hasn't advanced very much from when I last saw it. Anyway, this is the beginning of trying to build a giant egg. What we hope is that nobody else has thought of the idea, and so when we say we've got the biggest egg in Scotland, that we will have the biggest egg in Scotland because nobody else is competing. So that's the idea.
Lord Glasgow can't afford a specialist prop builder, so the man landed with the job of creating the giant egg is head ranger Peter.
For inspiration, I'm using a real egg, and it's taken me ages to try and get the perspectives right. I live and sleep eggs at the moment. You know, I keep talking to everyone about bloody eggs. It's pathetic, really. My wife's getting fed up with it, but actually, when you look at an egg, it's quite complex. Yeah, a lot of pressure, but such is the role of the ranger.
Billy Kirkwood is a self-made man who runs a local building firm. He's come to inspect the condition of the castle for Lord Glasgow and give him a costing for essential repairs.
But the stonework, the roof looks pretty ropey. Woodwork was pretty ropey. Windows look horrendous. I think it's just, there's obviously a crack in the lintel above the door and the feature above it, and it's just wear and tear. It's been patched and pegged a couple of times. But I think just with the sandstone's really soft, and I think the weather, I think the gutters have been leaking, and it's just washing it down really bad, and it's just starting to vanish. Everything's pretty poor about it, and it's just been short-term, fast-fix repairs. There's not been any serious, proper maintenance done. There's not been anything properly put back the way it should be.
But there's no question, I'm afraid, we do need a big investment, really, of money in order to keep this place going. We really do need about £1.5 million to do the fabric of the castle. This is nothing to do with improving the inside or making the thing warmer. It's to do with actually, making certain that the roof and the downpipes and the chimneys and also the surface on the outside of the castle are done properly to keep the damp out.
Lord Glasgow already owes the bank nearly £500,000, so the money is not going to be easy to find. But it'll have to be found soon.
It's a snowball effect, and it's just further down the hill it went, it just get bigger and bigger, and the problems get worse because dry rot and wet rot and dampness and aged wiring and things like that, these things don't go away, they don't get better, they don't heal themselves. So therefore these things have got to be done. Historically, I think there's not been any good, solid, sustainable flow of income coming in to maintain and look after things.
The state of the castle isn't Lord Glasgow's only problem.
The bank are beginning to start being a bit threatening, so it's very important that we make money this year. And so I've just got to make certain that, and also I've asked all our staff that they're not getting a wage rise this year, and they've all reluctantly agreed. But it's not a very satisfactory situation, really.
Lord Glasgow lives in the castle with his 28-year-old son, Viscount David, an architect.
This is the warmest place in the house in the winter, basically. It's at this time of year. I mean, the summer the castle's lovely because it keeps it cool inside, and when it's warm outside. But in the winter, it's pretty chilly. So this is my favourite spot, along with the cats. It's nice and warm, but the only source of heat in the house, basically.
Listen, what are you doing tonight? I'm going for a meal.
In a few years, David will take over from his father. Then Kelburn will be his
I'll
problem.
be finished, but then I've got no money, so no. I mean, I'm rooked. I've got like 50p.
We can't just keep going on like we've been doing. Everything wears down, and you have to. We're not making enough money to have any capital to make anything new, or and so it's just a sort of cyclical system, and it's just not really working. And then obviously the castle's deteriorating, and we're not getting any money to be able to do that up from the centre. So something needs to change.
It's Easter weekend, and Kelburn is about to open for what Lord Glasgow hopes will be one of the busiest weekends of the year. The weather can make all the difference. It's fine now, but on the Ayrshire coast, rain and wind are never far away.
Well, as you can see, this is a very worrying sort of day. You can't tell what it's going to do. But all I can say is that this time last year, on this day, we only managed to get 47 people. And so I think we're going to do better than that today.
But last year, they didn't have their secret weapon, the egg.
It's quite a big egg, and it was quite difficult to do. We've got a nest as well, but it has to sit in a certain way because some parts of the egg look better than other parts, if you see what I mean. But Lord Glasgow said he'd give me £100 bonus, so we'll see what happens. Spin round.
Lord Glasgow has contacted the local press and is expecting them to turn up for the grand unveiling of his egg. But as the public start to arrive, Lord Glasgow insists on a last-minute change.
If you moved it about another 10 yards, it would be in the middle.
It would be much more.
I'd rather not move it today.
There's no sort of theatrical reason why you wanted to put it in the corner, was there?
Well, it's flat there.
It's very good, by the way. I mean, it looks excellent. It's just that I want
Get £100 for that.
What?
£100.
You will, but £100 if it's moved to here.
Okay.
Do you want me to get some other people to come?
No, I'll move it.
What's that for?
That's a big egg. That's its nest. And then, no, and then when we're ready, look. When we're ready, you can take your own design on it, you see. Best design gets a prize, you see.
Okay, I'm going to win it.
All right, but we won't be ready for some time. I had a dream the other night, in the autumn you can make a giant acorn, but I'm not going to mention that. I'll adjust your hat.
I haven't got much to say about the egg, to be honest.
Yeah, but surely shouldn't bunny come out of an egg really rather than a chicken?
No. Yes, we're going to open the egg. This is it. Anybody like to see the egg opening? Squeeze in a bit. Well, welcome ladies and gentlemen. This is the biggest egg in Scotland. We don't know how it got here, but it's going to live in this nest. And I'm ably assisted on this ceremony by the bunny girls over there. Right, I'm just going to have a chat with the bunny girls. Won't be a minute. Now they're getting very excited because this is a very exciting time. I think a chicken might come out. Watch very carefully. Keep quacking, keep quacking. Here she comes, she's very shy. Right, nice quiet clap, because we've got twins. And I believe there'll be a photo.
Unfortunately, no one from the local paper turns up. And when the rain comes, Easter turns into a damp squib. The rain has brought more problems for Kelburn. Water has leaked through the roof of the castle, and several of the rooms have been damaged. Local builder Billy Kirkwood has been called in. He's brought in a specialist conservation surveyor to help assess the damage.
But this is a loo here, and absolutely water comes pouring through it. But we just don't mind enough what happens there. That's the trouble.
That is real,
I know.
that is real rot.
I know it is.
The castle hosts weddings and dinners, but not enough to pay for its upkeep. Lord Glasgow has been looking for someone to take over the function business for some time. With the increasing deterioration of the castle, his quest has become urgent.
Well, I'll tell you what I quite like to do is to go through the other applications for the manager's post.
Presumably you only want to see the ones who you wanted to interview anyway.
Yes, I think so.
Maybe the Mills, unless they found somebody else.
She was my second choice, yes, I quite liked her.
The new commercial manager basically does need to be someone who can do a multitude of things. They have to be able to be very good with people, very good with guests, good at events organising, general organisation. They also have to be able to get their hands a bit dirty, you know, to be able to do some of the things that might go wrong when there's no one else here, you know, pipes and you know, fuses and all that sort of stuff. So I mean, it's going to take quite and someone that's quite inventive as well in marketing and promotion and someone that's got a bit of a sense of humour, right?
The person who has been temporarily looking after the functions is the castle's ageing steward, Sandy. As well as polishing the castle's silver and doing the maintenance, Sandy takes all the bookings and organises the weddings and dinners. Until recently, when his hip went, he also butlered at the functions. Sandy's been desperate to retire for the last 2 years.
Right, if you just give us a sec, I'll just run through and find the diary. 2 secs. No problem, bye. Hello? Hi there, there's nothing in the diary. So I think you'll probably be absolutely fine, but as I say, I don't really I don't really write the diary, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Thanks, mate. Some woman about a Scottish weekend of some kind. I mean, our whole system is pretty bad at the moment. People wanted to check availability and stuff like that, and so I'm spending my whole time taking down notes, can't get on with any of my own work. So, I mean, I'm not really complaining, but it's just, we need a system. We need a system.
April should be a time for a flurry of bookings. But at Kelburn, the function diary is not exactly filling up.
There's no wedding on the 10th of June, a big one on the 24th of June.
Expect, maybe this time next year that the diary will go full.
Shall we see? I would sincerely hope so. But I don't think it's all that likely.
There might not be any weddings or dinners on the horizon, but the castle is coming to life for a party of a different sort. 25 relatives of the Boyle clan are turning up for one of the many family gatherings that take place at Kelburn every year. There was a time when Kelburn had a staff of 25 to keep the castle going.
Oh, fiddle. That's a pest, isn't it?
These days, most of the work is down to 64-year-old Anne.
Here we go.
She used to be David and his sister's nanny, but for the last 10 years she's done the housekeeping and cooking at the castle. Anne knows exactly how to prepare for every eventuality at Kelburn, including the frequent power failures caused by the castle's ancient wiring.
These are in case we have a power cut, and it means that people, they're waking up and no light, they can strike a match and join Wee Willie Winkie.
In her years of service, Anne has seen the castle deteriorate badly and is gloomy about the future of Kelburn.
There we are. I can see, of all these ancestors, the portraits sort of looking at you disapprovingly if you had to give the place up. But lots of people have had to do it because it's just not viable. But we're hoping, we'll keep on hoping still that things will improve. Anyway, I better be off.
Viscount David's sister, Lady Alice, has come from Edinburgh for the family party. And there's another, more unexpected visitor.
Alice? Yeah? I got back, so I'm going to go up and check the rooms upstairs.
Lady Isabel is Lord Glasgow's estranged wife. She's paying a flying visit to make sure that the castle is ready for the party.
What are you doing?
Well, my husband and I have a dispute about this sofa. I like it back so that it doesn't, obscure the view properly. And so it's like a joke. When he comes, he pulls it forward. When I come in, I put it back. And so I now have the privilege of putting it back.
Lady Isabel devoted 20 years of her life to Kelburn before she decided that that was enough.
I think my mum spent a lot of time looking after this place. I mean, I think she really got on top of it. I mean, it's quite a serious responsibility. It kind of consumes you, do you know what I mean?
You do notice the house a bit more of a state now than it ever was before. Now she's left. And there's no food ever in the kitchen, in the fridge at all. I come back and David and Dad just have microwave meals every single night, or get an Indian.
When you're up there, therefore, could you take the kitchen scissors?
Yes.
If you are going to do that.
Yes.
And do the usual cutting of that bit of carpet as you come in.
Yes.
Do that. If you're going up there anyway.
Yes.
Lady Isabel isn't hanging around to see her ex-in-laws. The Boyles know how to throw a party. Over the next 6 days, the castle will come to life as the extended Boyle clan drink, eat and enjoy themselves. Silver service staff has been hired for the week, and the party have even brought their own cook.
Oh, it's my cousin's.
72.
70th birthday. So, big meal, some games, a few drinks.
We've got to be in there, David, at 7:30.
Apparently one of the cousins is one of the people that's playing the violin or something. Apparently really good at the violin.
You like it when it's like this, David, when there's a lot of people in the house and it's buzzing?
Yeah, I love it, yeah. It's sort of what the whole point of the castle really is, makes it. Because a lot of it's quite inconvenient, cold, lots of stuff, but actually when you have it full and full of people, it makes it all, you know, it's sort of the point of a house like this, really. You know what I mean? The whole place comes alive.
Kelburn is the Boyle ancestral seat. As head of the dynasty, Lord Glasgow hosts gatherings of the extended family. In the past, these social occasions were an opportunity for the Boyles to display their wealth. These days, Lord Glasgow tries to cover his costs by charging the family to stay.
We came over quite soon after William the Conqueror, if we didn't come over with him. And we claim, in fact, to be the oldest, certainly the oldest castle in Scotland to be continuously inhabited by the same family. I think it's true to say that our family, if you say they made their fortune, they really did it mostly by marrying the right people. They married extremely intelligently, and they married heiresses who produced more money, not only more money, but very often more land came into the Boyle family.
They just keep going,
We had quite a lot of land, not only of Ayrshire, which is the county we're in at the moment, but also Renfrewshire, Fife. We also had bits of Northumberland. And there was already quite a huge empire. In those days, I'm now talking about 1840, they were getting in something like £70,000 a year in rent. So that, I mean, if you could think £70,000 a year in rent is quite, I mean, even now it'd be quite useful. But in those days, it was serious money. The person that really lost the money was the 6th Earl of Glasgow, and he began endowing and building churches and cathedrals all over Scotland. And he's regarded in the Episcopal Church of Scotland as the good Earl, which we find rather insulting, because in fact he went bankrupt. And we've been sort of struggling ever since.
With the situation at Kelburn becoming critical, these parties, and this way of life, could soon become a thing of the past. Many aristocratic families in the same predicament have taken the difficult decision to sell up. For the Boyles, that isn't an option.
I mean, we could just sort of sell out and make a theme park and sell it all off and to big developments, and you know, but it's just not. It just goes against something really deep inside yourself. You know, it's your family have lived here, you know, for over nearly 1,000 years on the land, and you just don't want to sort of ruin it.
But there is hope. Lord Glasgow has finally found a new commercial manager. Sue Knutsford Mills is an events manager for a 5-star hotel in Brighton. Lord Glasgow has persuaded her to take up the challenge of rejuvenating Kelburn's ailing function business.
Right, I'm going to check the wardrobes. Yeah. I'll make sure the windows are closed.
Sue and her husband Peter believe that the move to Kelburn is fate. Although New Zealanders, Sue was born a few miles from Kelburn, and Peter's great-grandfather worked for a former Lord Glasgow in New Zealand.
It was almost like, well, this is what we've been waiting for, although subconsciously didn't realise it. So, and going back there now seems like we, in some ways, are sort of going home, or it's where we're meant to be.
I'm excited as well, but even though I haven't got a job there, but I think there'll be something for me sometime. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the boss though.
I might employ him as a cook, perhaps, if he behaves. Yeah.
Hi, House.
After a 12-hour drive from the south coast, Sue and Peter arrive at Kelburn to start their new life. They will live on site in an old butler's house next door to the Falconry Centre.
So here's our wee house for the next few years.
Excuse me, I thought I was going to carry you over there. Nope.
Well, it's smaller than I thought. I thought it was actually quite big.
It is big.
Oh, it's so different from what I remembered. Oh, the paint's not as nice as I thought it was going to be. It's lovely though, Lord Glasgow. Thank you. It's very nice.
I think it is
going to be lovely.
We've got quite a lot of bookings now. I mean, there are 1 or 2 weddings coming along.
Oh, good.
And we've got 1 or 2 dinners and things booked.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
That'd be
well,
good.
I hope it all goes well. I hope you like this. Actually, it's right. I think it's rather nice, actually, your house. One thing I have got is
Sue has taken a big pay cut to work at Kelburn, but she's not worried. Lord Glasgow has promised her an annual bonus if she can double the turnover of the function business. Kelburn's first wedding of the year is in just 2 days.
Hi.
Sue wastes no time meeting the staff.
Maggie. Hi Maggie, how are you?
Hi Ma.
Hi Anne,
Nice to meet
how
you.
are you?
Very well indeed, thank you.
Oh, that's my yummy.
Hello Sandy. Don't try to hide.
Hello. We have indeed. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Much the same.
How's your hip?
Sorry?
How's your hip?
It's much the same.
Sue quickly discovers that Kelburn's facilities and equipment are far from 5-star.
So you put the candlesticks on. How many candlesticks do you put on?
I used to put 3 on.
3?
Don't worry about the 3-tiered ones because they're wobbly and fall about and they're off.
So just the single candles.
Just
okay.
3 singles.
Sandy, did you know this was broken?
I'll tell you all about that.
Oh, so you know it's broken.
They're all broken.
Are they?
The 52-room castle has to be cleaned from top to bottom before the wedding. There's no money for a team of maids, so Sue has to do a lot of the manual work herself.
We know from when we first got here that it takes 6.5 hours solid vacuum clean to get from the top to the bottom if you do every single room and every single staircase.
The 15 Norwegian wedding guests are staying at Kelburn for 2 nights. The bedrooms are scattered all over the castle, so doing the beds is a long job, especially when they have to be made the traditional way.
Look at that sheet. That's a shame. I wonder if it could be made and could make it into a single. Oh, look, it's really, really worn. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, this is lovely.
Look, it works.
And it's got no holes in it, and it's a huge shovel. Let's try and remember this one. Who's got a pen on them? I think we're so tired now that it's really everything's just hilariously funny.
Peter's left to find his feet alone. He's not officially on the payroll, but he's a professional chef, so Lord Glasgow has asked him to do the catering for the wedding.
Is it vintage stuff in there?
Well, it's not out of date, it's just odds and ends. So, it's more like a household freezer than a, we're running a business with a freezer. You don't understand that.
The only problem is, Lord Glasgow has forgotten to tell Sandy that Peter is going to do the catering. Sandy has already booked someone else.
Right.
So is she doing this one here?
Yes.
Because Lord Glasgow's asked if Peter can do it.
Well, I was never told that. Communications here are absolutely abysmal.
Okay.
Okay, he never came to me and told me that. He told some other member of the staff, and in the meantime I had made alternative arrangements.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, every new job is scary to start with. I mean, every new job has got its, you know, you walk into it thinking, goodness gracious me, what have I done? So this is going to be like no other, yeah. So once I've had a few days to walk around and everything, it'll be fine. Yeah, I hope. I'm sure it will be.
It's the morning of the wedding. Sue is preparing Kelburn's grandest room for the ceremony.
Okay.
As she improvises by covering up the holes in the carpet with furniture, she seems to be quickly adapting to Kelburn's somewhat faded charm.
Yeah, careful with that one because it's broken.
There's sort of a multitude of sins which we're trying to...
Well, these ones, there's no holes or anything, so that's fine. We've sort of...
All these I think we're going to be able to replace in the next 2 or 3 years. Quite good if we can.
We're just going to light the fire.
There's the bride and groom, are they right?
I think they've nipped into Largs to get flowers and odds and ends.
I'm back at the centre then if you want me.
I'll tell them that you came up anyway, Lord Glasgow.
Before the wedding party arrives, Lord Glasgow beats a hasty retreat. Sharing the ancestral home with wedding parties is something that he finds hard to get used to.
All right then, thank you.
That, I must say, is the most difficult for me, because if you're having a wedding, then nearly always it's the bride's family take over the castle and with all their friends, and so you really do feel you're almost a stranger in your own house. I find myself sneaking around because they're taking it for a wedding. They're not taking it for me. They're not remotely interested in how old my family is. They just want the sight.
Hi.
Hi, hey, you are?
I'm Sue.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I have a little problem with these heavy red wines. I get migraine from it.
That's fine. We don't have to. What we normally do is we have in your price. You've got your wine during dinner included. What time did you want dinner? Are you going to be 6 o'clock for dinner? Okay. She wants quite a light red wine. The heavy red wines give her migraines.
Well,
so we can.
It's a claret.
Yeah, I think that might be too heavy for her. We suggest perhaps a Pinot Noir or just a really light red wine. So do we have anything, or should we go and buy some?
Old habits die hard at Kelburn. Sandy has been serving the same claret for years and doesn't intend to change now.
But I mean, that's what we normally sell.
Lifelong union of marriage, we know the joy of God who made us in his own image, male and female. Marriage is enriched by God for all who have faith in him.
It's quite emotional, wasn't it? Standing clear.
It's the end of Sue's first wedding, and Sandy's last. His days in service at Kelburn are over.
Did you think about the future much?
Well, I mean, the future is retiral. Just what that means, I don't know, because I haven't given any thought whatsoever.
The next morning, the Norwegian wedding party sit down for a silver service breakfast. But downstairs, Peter is struggling in the antiquated kitchen. Cooking for 15 people on an old Arga is a first for him.
We're all ready to go. Just got to wait for the eggs to cook. Been a bit slow. I might turn this on. Lord Glasgow has suggested this oven is a bit old and antiquated. It might need replacing. I agree. Yeah. Just forgot to stir the eggs. Maybe in about 2 hours.
Once the food is cooked, it's got to make the long journey to the dining room via the hand-driven Victorian dumbwaiter.
Yoo-hoo! Sue! Sue!
Yes, what's your
eggs?
If you want anything else, too bad. Unfortunately, I think I yelled at too loud.
Breakfast is over. Sue and Peter are reeling from the state of Kelburn's antiquated kitchen facilities.
I've been brought in here to turn this into a commercial enterprise and to maximise what revenue we can attract. So therefore, basically, like any workman, I need the tools to do it.
The facilities here are not up to standard, and the whole place needs to be gutted and started again from scratch. So.
But the problem is much worse than just out-of-date equipment. Kelburn has a guilty secret. The kitchen nowhere near meets modern health and safety standards. To avoid alerting the authorities, who could close them down, Lord Glasgow doesn't advertise Kelburn as a function venue.
It's very, very difficult to do active marketing if, in fact, you aren't, you are outside the health and safety regulations, I think it'll be very difficult. I mean, the point is we get away with it now because we don't really market the castle at all.
This is a real blow. Sue stands no chance of getting her bonus if she can't market the castle as an events venue.
It's just that I do want to get onto this as soon as we possibly can. That's why I wanted to put it forward, because this is one of the parts of the castle that is in the worst shape anyway.
A few days later, Lord Glasgow has called an urgent meeting with Enterprise Ayrshire, a local grant agency. He's now accepted that he has no option but to install a new commercial kitchen. He doesn't have the £30,000 the kitchen will cost, so he's hoping he can get a grant.
1700, but it was being made into a pantry, and it's in very, very bad shape anyway.
Lord Glasgow has asked Billy Kirkwood to come along to the meeting. Billy knows how the system works.
Do you think, are we being too forward in saying, realistically, what is our chance of getting any financial assistance for the creation of a new kitchen facility to facilitate the growth and expansion of dinners and parties within the castle to get more commercial value from it?
For us to be able to kind of support directly, we would need to see this developed a wee bit more. We would need to see more information on revenue from tourism, from visitors, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm really bored about all these people who want to know what's going on but are not prepared to give anything. Apparently we've just been told that the tourist board is somebody who should be kept informed, but oh no, but they won't give any money.
They'll give you advice, but they won't, you know.
But what advice could they give? I just think I know more about tourism in this part of the world than anybody now. I know we have terrible problem getting money out of you. But why don't you bring a party of people and we'll give you a very good dinner here.
What's the one right up at top? The
Billy is a self-made man who's earned his money through hard graft and being a shrewd operator. He thinks Lord Glasgow's made a serious error of judgment.
I think new commercial manager coming in, personally, I think it's a bit premature. I don't think we're ready for it. I don't think Lord Glasgow's ready for it, because for a commercial manager to come in here and be effective to promote the castle's got to be of a standard that can be promoted.
Lord Glasgow desperately needs to find a way of raising money. He has no other option but to sell a part of the Kelburn estate. Billy has offered to help identify a good site. This is not the first time Lord Glasgow has been forced to sell off his assets.
At the end of the 90s, we were in very serious financial trouble. I mean, really were. And that was very largely my stupidity in retrospect. And my overdraft had got to a stage where there's no way that even if Kelburn did, or the country centre, suddenly did get more profitable, it would never be able to pay this overdraft off. And it needed some major sale. Fortunately, I was very lucky because I managed to sell off what is known as our foreshore here, which is the bit of land between high water mark and low water mark. And the people that really wanted it was the marina.
It's not just the foreshore that has gone. The golf course on the estate and his house in London's Notting Hill have also had to be sold to try and keep Kelburn going. Lord Glasgow is running out of places to sell.
But if you go to the other side by where those trees are, beyond that you get a view looking right over the whole of the Firth of Clyde. You can see it's a pretty spectacular view. Why, when it's obviously the best view in Scotland, why can't we convince everybody else?
The view might be beautiful, but the moorland has little commercial value.
There's people up there. Do you see? If you go around there, you'll see two people on the hill. I'll go along and say, what do you think you're doing on my land? And they'll just say, fuck off.
Before Lord Glasgow inherited Kelburn, he worked in the arts, a background that ill-equipped him to manage the large estate and its staff.
It's quite hard for him to suddenly become sort of businessman, and I don't think that he's got that business side to him, so I think it's always going to be much harder for him to do business things. At one point, a lot of people started ripping my dad off, and no one said anything because, you know, everyone was doing it, you know, and everyone knew each other was doing it. And instead of like being the sneak, they just started doing it as well. And I think Dad was really, obviously, quite rightly, really hurt about that. I think that if it had been more of a businessman running the place, A lot of people have been fired, and I think that's the difference between sort of being a nice boss and being a really ruthless businessman.
Well, wait and see.
Right, oh my God, look at these trees are coming down. Now this is a very, very nice...
Still on the hunt for a good site, Lord Glasgow returns to some land that he's been trying to sell for years for a housing development.
Now here we're getting into the place, this is the area we were talking about. There's a long strip all the way along here, all the way nearly to Fairley Castle.
The land could be worth several £1 million, but its sale has been plagued by planning problems.
Lord Glasgow was back in '91 when...
Billy convinces Lord Glasgow that with his know-how and contacts, he can make it happen.
This is an opportunity to create family homes in an area that will help assist the growth of the village, and in turn, as an enablement development for Kelburn, it's going to put the proceeds directly into the repair of the castle and contribution towards the estate.
It's very important that it goes through, and it must go through reasonably quickly. Wouldn't you say that, Billy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All we have to do is get some facts and figures together and get our show on the road, and I think we'll need to start chapping doors and getting more people here to see it.
Just a few days later, and Billy's back at the castle. He's hard at work on the sale of Lord Glasgow's land.
No, just make it 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Billy is quickly becoming far more than Lord Glasgow's local builder. An unlikely friendship is developing between them. It's one that Billy is keen to nurture.
OK, mate, thanks very much. He did jokingly one night refer to me as having a rough upbringing, of which I'm the oldest of 6 of a family, and my parents still live in a 3-bedroom semi-detached council house. We need to try and get a wee bit of order amongst the disorder. One thing with Lord Glasgow and I treat him as a friend. I still call him Lord Glasgow. He told my wife Shona she can call him Patrick. I still call him Lord Glasgow, and I suppose in a way I've got sort of an old-fashioned value for him. I respect him for who he is and what he is. I think that there is an opportunity here to help him, and I think he appreciates my help.
Billy is not just a builder. He's also a successful property developer with a particular interest in buying run-down historic houses. His latest acquisition is this Grade 2 Georgian mansion for £1 million. He's going to turn it into flats.
Very unusual, very nice property. We'll have to strip the roof, and there's quite a bit of rot in the roof, so we'll have to repair that, reslate it, repoint it and repaint it, and then we'll need to look at the windows and things like that as well. Inside it will get new gas central heating, new electrical wiring, and obviously as it's been converted into 4, there'll be 4 kitchens and bathrooms and en-suites involved. But these will be spacious apartments on completion. I don't know if we actually get the dogs.
It's the end of June, and the country centre is enjoying a good spell.
The school visit period's always very busy. I think on Monday, this last Monday, that we had 910 children here, so it's very busy, lots of litter. But things are going quite well, and I'm very pleased that this year we've introduced a new puppet show featuring Rory the red squirrel and Gary the grey squirrel, and it's all about Rory the red squirrel losing his nuts. Turn around and look at that big tree behind you. That tree is 3,000 years old, and it's been standing still, breathing in and out for 3,000 years.
It might look busy now, but the centre is still only just about breaking even. Unless the land sale deal goes through, the park is in danger of having to close at the end of the season. Up at the castle, it's also busy, but not with weddings and dinners. Sue is preparing for nearly 3 weeks of Boyle family parties.
Lord Glasgow got his sister and her husband coming, and then after that he's got 8 days of more family that are coming. I'm not sure how many, and that's all at Lord Glasgow's expense, or the castle's expense. So really the target's a thing of the future. So it is something I'm going to have to sort of deal with, that I'm going to lose money over the next month.
The majority of traditions that keep going in this house are games. Like games that were played 150 years ago are still being played, you know. If anything serious has just been left by the wayside.
While the games go on, Billy is pulling out all the stops to make the land sale happen.
I'll basically say is you've got the updated amendment which you basically had asked for with the various changes, and you're going to be going over that and then replying to them.
What's so cool about this house is that, you know, it is a genuine home. I just think more credit to Patrick for keeping it going, because I mean, what a fucking pain in the neck to have to try and.
That's my job. That's my job, Sin.
Well, you know, it's a difficult job. If you just keep selling bits off,
I know
you're on a high road to nothing.
Yeah, but you're right, man. You are right. Well, my dad just isn't a business.
David will be taking over from his father in a few years. He's becoming increasingly worried about the land sale and what will be left of Kelburn when he inherits it.
Historically, all we've been doing is, you know, running out of money and selling land, running out of money and selling land, because everything costs so much to maintain, which is not an ideal situation, but we're obviously running out of bits to sell, do you know what I mean? Well, anything that's worth anything. I mean, Kelburn's just, you know, beautiful. It's kind of glens and waterfalls and nice views of the sea, but they don't actually bring in much income, you know what I mean? So, and this is one of the last really good sites that we have, and I just worry that it's going to be, we're not going to make the most out of it, and then we've sold everything we have.
July brings good news. Billy has found some potential buyers for the land. But before he can close the deal, he still has to overturn a planning objection from local residents. Lord Glasgow is placing the future of Kelburn in Billy's hands. He doesn't seem overly concerned that Billy is a man with a reputation.
He has a lot of enemies locally because they think he's just a sort of ruthless developer who wants to build things all over. But actually that's not really true. Billy is working very hard, and I think he sort of genuinely cares about it. I think he's almost working for Kelburn slightly altruistically, not really gaining very much from it. But I think he really likes to see this. I think he'd like to associate with getting this castle and thing back on its feet.
I think this will be a combination of a wish list combined into a constructive 5-year plan to repair the castle as well as improve the country centre and the wider estate. Now, we know that that's the areas that have got to be addressed.
The only thing standing between Kelburn and the money needed to save the castle is the local residents. Billy decides to take the fight to an appeal at the Scottish Parliament. He's brought in specialist conservation architect Ben Tyndall to help them build their case. They need to prove that without the money, Kelburn will fall into irreversible disrepair and be lost to the nation.
Lord Glasgow's view.
Well, going back to the two urgent things as far as we're concerned, one is the kitchen and the other is the wiring. They seem to be the most urgent because with the wiring, because it's a real genuine danger, and it could, and the kitchen because we could be closed down unless we get the thing done.
I mean, I think coming down to the electrical wiring and all the other aspects are going to have to be dealt with methodically with regards to what we tackle first.
I'm seeing there's about 3 years' work here. I mean, I really am. I'm getting quite despairing. We've only got to part one.
It sounds tedious, but this is what is required to get the money.
Yeah, right.
It's late July, and the family party is still in full swing. Sue has worked out that the financial contribution the family make isn't enough to cover the direct costs. Trying to save any money she can, she's had to cut the staff down to a minimum and has now added toilet cleaner to her ever-growing list of duties.
I think most people that have worked here found that physically it is hard work if you're here for any time. But I thought I would have got used to it by now, but never mind.
When Sue attempts to save money by rationing the coffee, it proves a step too far.
We have to make it stronger.
Honestly, it's because it's in tiny little cups. It has to be like proper espresso.
We can't do proper espresso.
No, we just have to make it really strong. I mean, I think once we get the whole kitchen sorted out, we'll have a proper machine, you know. We'll get a proper machine and make serious coffee, you know. But it just is a bit weak, that's all. Do we have any chamomile tea bags?
It's 8 a.m, and after a late night serving Lord Glasgow's family, Sue and Peter are back at the castle. The antique crockery has to be washed by hand, so it's on with the marigolds again.
I think it was after 11 I got away last night. And then we had to be back here at 8 o'clock in the morning. But then you have to reset for breakfast for 20 odd people. So it makes very, very long days. I don't know how they live in their own lives. I mean, I know it is nice for them to come here and it is a family home. But it's not 1920s anymore, it's, 2006. So perhaps it may be that they're, I don't know, perhaps that if they have to lower their expectations a bit, perhaps to cut costs, if they don't want to pay for it, well then perhaps there's some things that they could be doing themselves. Perhaps they could be getting their own children's dinner instead of having high tea prepared for the children every night. I mean, it's just a thought, because it really is just ridiculous. And at the end of the day, I'm not their servant. I'm supposed to be managing this council. There's still paperwork, there's still emails to do, there's still people ringing about weddings. And at this stage, because there's no money coming in, I can't afford. I have to do as much as I can so that it doesn't bankrupt us too much. I have to be realistic and do as much as I can, because make use of the fact I'm here.
August. The family party is over, and Kelburn is quiet again.
Have you looked on our website? Can I send you a brochure on the castle, perhaps?
There are still no commercial functions in the diary, but that could be about to change. Billy has come good. He's won the planning appeal. The land sale can now go ahead, if they can overcome one final obstacle. Lord Glasgow still owes the bank nearly £500,000, and that could jeopardise the sale, unless he can convince them that Kelburn has a viable financial future.
I am going to need within a week from you, I think that they call a business plan. It's to put some weight on the bank, I think, really.
But you've already got your existing business plan for Kelburn as exists.
Well, we haven't
got a business plan.
We haven't got a business plan. I never really quite know what people mean by business
plan. Your cash flow.
They want to see.
Well, no, what the bank said.
How we're going to be in the black in 5 years' time.
Yeah. Well, what the bank?
The garden.
Billy shares the bank's concerns about Lord Glasgow's business acumen.
I don't know what your solution to this is, then.
I think the solution is to make the whole centre profitable and deliver.
What do you think we've been trying to do for the last 20 years?
But you've been doing it very badly.
Well, I don't think we have, actually. I think you're wrong about that. I made one very, very big mistake in the late 90s. But I don't think you're right. I don't think it is a thing that is likely to make very if you wanted to be a businessman and you wanted to take over an estate and a country park and make it profitable, I don't think you could.
I disagree.
Honestly, we're not idiots, honestly. We've been trying very hard to think of ways of doing this.
But the country centre has not contributed in any way to repairs in the castle, has it?
Well, it has been.
All I'm saying is that it's moving on to the next level now, isn't it? Yeah. We're in the 21st century. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. What we're basically doing is we're taking the wheel off, we're putting new bearings in it, and we're sorting the puncture.
Nobody has rationalised this at all yet. Well, not for a long time.
With the prospect of the money getting nearer, Billy gets Lord Glasgow and Viscount David to start clearing space for storage before the renovations begin.
I think you may find it.
Rubbish.
What is the...
Battery rubbish, paint rubbish.
Where's our rubbish?
Pot rubbish.
Well, what about those? Are they rubbish?
Keep them.
I think they're quite useful. I don't think we should just throw them out if they're working. What do we can do with them? Oh, actually, that'd be very useful. I think we should keep that.
Right.
Well, more for something in the shower. This is for taking the cat to the thing. We better keep that. This chair here is a particularly nice chair, this one here. And those ones are all very good.
Without Billy, the land sale would not have happened. But it turns out he's not just doing it out of the goodness of his heart.
The best place for these is the skip.
You know, I'm not doing it for nothing. If my company may be involved, then fine, whatever that's got to be, let's do it, because it's important that it gets done. I personally feel we've got one real good chance here to do this, and now's the time to do it.
This television presumably doesn't work.
As well as getting the contract to repair the castle, Billy will make money from the land sale. He bought the option to develop the land from Lord Glasgow, and now with full planning permission, he can sell the option for a healthy profit. September. Finally, it's the news everyone has been waiting for. The bank have been convinced by Lord Glasgow and his team's plan to save Kelburn. It's a plan that should mean that Kelburn will remain in the Boyle family for many years to come. When the money comes through, the work can start on the renovation of the castle, and Kelburn will get its commercial kitchen. The castle can then be marketed properly and should start paying for itself. All that's left is to sign the contracts for the land sale.
Where the roof's collapsing.
We want to start doing this kitchen immediately.
Yes, all right.
And
then Billy's got to sign as well.
Right.
My job for the next 5 years is to deliver a repaired, restored castle.
Yeah.
Your job is to deliver a sustainable business that's going to support.
Well, both of them. That's what we hope we're going to achieve with both of them, really. I'm hoping that the investment we put into the country centre and to the castle is going to help the country centre and the estate to be more profitable. Don't you think that? Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. We have to show it's sustainable, and sustainability. And we're not sustainable if we go on having a huge overdraft. My father never had an overdraft. I was the first person to go into serious overdrafts.
So you're to blame?
For overdrafts, yes. I have to put my own pen. Yes, otherwise.
It's an historic moment, the signing of a document.
Right, that's it.
We've still got quite a long way to go. I should be getting in about 2,400,000, but over about 5 years. Unfortunately, though, it can't be spent on me going off and buying myself a villa in the south of France. It has to be spent on actually the castle and the country centre and the estate. But I'm not unhappy about that, really, because it's something that needs to be done. Also, it's something that I can then hopefully hand on to David in reasonably good shape.
In a few years, Viscount David will inherit the castle. Its future is now far more secure than at the beginning of the year. He's already got some interesting plans to put Kelburn on the map.
Because we're hopefully getting the whole castle done up, well, at least the outside, all the renders can be coming off. So me and Alice had a really good idea that we get it covered in sort of the best graffiti in the world, kind of murals and stuff like that, so, which would be pretty amazing. So these Brazilian graffiti artists are absolutely amazing. I mean, it's amazing art. I mean, it's figures, this sort of fantasy, kind of very colourful sort of fantasy idea on especially that part of the facade. And it'll just be a huge piece of art, and I think it'll be fairly controversial. I'm really looking forward to all that side of it,